Thank you so much. That's it's wonderful to be with everybody here today. And in terms of the way that we always start our sessions, we always start in gratitude. So, of course, we're situated on the traditional and the unceded lands. The traditional lands of the Lekwungen-speaking peoples, the Songhees, and the Kasapsum, the Esquimalt nations. But I don't just want to brush over the word unceded, because that word unceded carries with it some freight. And I think we can't just have kind of rote acknowledgments anymore. We need to say there is something there for us to still tend to. There is something of the grief of lands that were taken that is for us to tend to. And some of the ways that we can do this, and the ways that we do this in this program, is to intentionally engage with community members, to learn from the lands that we're privileged to be learning on and gathering in, and to carry forth that kind of gathering spatial momentum that our First Nations brothers and sisters always convene themselves on these lands in this way, on these beautiful lands. And as we keep cultivating deep roots and rich relationships of reciprocity and connectedness between humans and more than humans, we remind ourselves that all flourishing is mutual, and we still have really important conversations to be had. We're not just business as usual. There's a lot to unravel and there's a lot to turn around still. But we celebrate education that recognizes that we're part of an intelligent, alive, whole earth system that treats knowledge like a living presence and must always be fed and tended to. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. Ariana, well, here we are.
Here we are.
Right. So we call this an ecological education for true vocation. I think we'll get a little bit more into this, what this means as we go along. But I'm super thrilled that first, Ariana, thank you for joining us
My
as our
pleasure.
educational specialist. And Alana McConaughey, couldn't do this without you. You're just so amazing of an encourager to recruit MAEEC students. And Rhett Rielkoff, our school manager, always supportive. We're really a great team. And then to be with us today, we're so lucky to have Jaron Kaner, who's MAEEC alum, Kira Heffron, who's a MAEEC candidate. And I won't spill the beans, but there's something happening for her today or tomorrow that's kind of exciting. And Bridget Forsman, who's currently a MAEEC student. So we have a wonderful lineup today. Do you want to just say something here,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ariana,
So
about our...
totally. Well, thanks folks for being with us today. It's a delight. So our agenda for today, I'll give us just a brief overview of the Railroads experience, just quickly on the next slide. And then we'll get into our rich conversation. So as Hillary mentioned, that will take up the bulk of the session today. We'll give you some program details and also some information on admissions and how to apply if you're thinking of applying for this program, which we hope you are. And as it says here on the slide, we welcome your questions. So if you have any questions or things that you want to share, please feel free to type them in the chat. Okay, and a little bit about our space here. If you haven't been to the campus before or seen the campus at Railroads, just a few quick photos here. So we have the top left, that's Hatley Castle. It's a National Historic Site in Canada. It's also been a famous movie set. We have that here on campus. So films like X-Men and Deadpool, they've been filmed there. We also have a variety of gardens and green space. So you'll see to the right of that, it's a photo of our Japanese garden, looking very beautiful. We have a migratory bird sanctuary on campus. So just to the bottom left, that's a photo of our Esquimalt Lagoon. And at Railroads, we've also been doing online and blended learning styles for, used to say 25, but it's now 30 years. So 30 years now since 1995, we've been doing that. So the bottom right, that's an homage to that. Okay, we're also proud to be an Ashoka U certified Changemaker campus. We're actually one of 5 in Canada that has this designation to advance innovation and social change and prepare students as they address world problems, encourage others, and act for the good of all. Okay, And now we will get into our conversation here. So believe we have one more slide. I'll just flip that to the next slide and I will pass it off back to you, Hillary. Take it away.
Well, before we do this, I do want to say something about the ecological education part, because I think it needs a wee bit of context with
Mhm.
the kind of conversation we're going to get into. So in the MA Environmental Education and Communication Program, which we fondly call MAEEC, we really keenly recognize the gifts that students bring. Students don't come as empty vessels, especially in grad school. You know, this is a time when, in addition to a despairing sense of not knowing, most folks don't know how to bridge their real passions into real work for the world. I mean, that's a conundrum. I'm thinking of the theologian Frederick Buchner, who gave really practical advice when he wrote, "Our calling is where our deepest gladness and the world's hunger meet." It's just a beautiful thing. Our calling is where our deepest gladness and the world's hunger meet, where what we love and love to do is met by a world that yearns for just that thing. So the kinds of questions we're going to ask today is, what if research, inquiry, or learning inquiry was designed not only to seek answers, but for the sake of what we love to do as we try to live into those questions, the questions that are themselves posed by the world to us. So over time in this program, through meaningful learning relationships, students begin to shift from purpose to actualization. We start to watch as people start to really step into and actualize more resilience and confidence to be able to act in the ways that they absolutely know the world needs. And the unique contributions of each student can best manifest when there are devoted faculty that create generous learning conditions of space and time, not always common in programs, for listening, reflecting, and metabolizing. And this is really an ethics of care that in Meek we concern ourselves with the who of you. So we're offering soulful invitations for multiple intelligences to blossom and fruit in kinship with human and the more than human world. We acknowledge that all flourishing is mutual, as I said at the beginning, and that this kind of deep learning is a co-creative endeavor. We can't do it without our students. We're looking to adapt a mature and responsible approach that looks at deep exploration, knowing and not knowing, both welcome, sharing, respect, reciprocity, and always gratitude. I mean, in the face of what we're facing these days, gratitude and presence is essential. So today, I just really wanted to gather these folks together so you could hear from them about their experiences that is encouraging something more of a true vocation, we might call it, on behalf of regeneration and collective ongoingness, when we're really all asked right now to rise to the occasion. And just one more thing before I stop talking, because I do like to talk. I was watching an Alan Watts video this morning. I love Alan Watts. And he said, you know, careers are fine, but they're only part of the dance, part of the play. And it's not the dance itself. The dance itself is not a destination. It's the way we're being in the world that matters right now so much. And it's not to say you won't get a job from having an MA, but it might surprise you what kind of work that would be and how integral and aligned that might be to exactly who you are. So, anyways, here we go. So the next slide, right. So, you know, I thought we might start with you, Jaron, if that's okay.
Sure.
Um, you are an alum, you're an outdoor place responsive educator and vice president of the Outdoor Council of Canada. Um, in your bio, you've said that most of your days are at the South Canoe Outdoor Learning School, a K-8 public program that you helped develop. Um, and it's predicated on an authentic education that remembers we're part of living systems. And it's built on curiosity and connection and care for the more than human world. And knowing you, I know this is in your bones. And especially, you know, helping to provide a sense of true belonging for children as they're finding their way in the world. Um, and you've also said you're a forager, a mountain biker, and you like to wander in wild spaces. I would consider you to be a lifelong apprentice to wild teachers everywhere. So maybe we'll stop sharing slides now and uh, Ariane, and we just watch, we can see Jaren here. So, Jaren, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about what happened to you. What
What
happened in
happened?
Meek?
What happened to Meek?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, you talk about it being in my bones, this stuff. It's so true. It really is how I have come to define myself is to be promoting wildness and connection with nature in an authentic way. And I really do feel like being in Meek was a big part of that. Actually, like I think making it a part of my bones. I didn't actually grow up in a situation where I had parents that were taking me outside, and my parents are Turkish. Like the idea of camping in Turkey is like, why would you go somewhere where there isn't running water and electricity, right? So I feel like I've grown into this over a period of time, and Meek was a major part of that. You know, I, I really feel like for me, Meek starts with the people, and the people that come together that have that common interest. Um, the teachers are fantastic, the whole program, and in fairness, like I don't want I can't speak in a lot of detail on what's happening today. But that was a long time ago that I graduated 2009. But the quality of the teachers was fantastic. The field studies were fantastic. There was a really large focus on bringing that unit of learners together.
Yeah.
And like I feel like so much of what I try and do with my class now uh, is kind of a reflection of a lot of those experiences,
Right. The
um,
cohort model, right? I
the
mean, how
cohort
important it
model.
is that we bind ourselves
Yeah,
so that we can actually get a bit risky and do some stuff and feel like we've got kind of a center that will hold.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
You
Yeah,
know, I think I, I think about what the school that I developed with some folks is a big part of my thinking, my day-to-day thinking. So
yeah,
it's a K-8 school currently where it's kind of like an outdoor immersion kind of experience, right? So kids are there for the whole school year or for their elementary career. And
wow.
you know, and I think I've come to realize that as much as it is about um connecting to the outdoors, I think it's also about community, and it's about
Yeah,
the experiences that we provide in the outdoors is
yeah.
actually what binds the people together, and
Mhm.
I think I came to realize that in Meek. It's like we did our field studies, we had these rich conversations and like brain hurting conversations, like stuff that really pushed us and made
Yeah.
us uncomfortable and it creates stress sometimes in a good
Mhm.
way, like in a good way that makes you learn. And through all that, like it just brings you all together as a group. And um, I'm still in touch with a lot of folks from there, and I do feel like um if for even the people that I didn't talk to from when we graduated, I still feel like they're really a close part of me because we have had that experience together. So it's the whole, and I feel like I'm talking really vaguely right now, but
But you're also in touch with students that just came out of the program. Like, I
oh
mean,
yeah, yeah,
Sonia, I mean, there's people that you're working with and like, so that eustress that you talk about, I know about that. That's actually the good stress because that's the one that's going to disrupt our habitual thinking and get us to say, what have I been doing? What have I been thinking? Which is the kind of thing we need. It teaches us something at such a deeper level than any book or, any kind of lecture could do. It's this kind of shift that happens. And, I bemoan that often there's nature kindies, like a few of them. We started the first one in BC just on Royal Roads property with Sangster School, but then nothing. It doesn't trickle up. And what you're doing is so radical, shouldn't be, but it's radical to have that immersion for K-8. That's so deeply important. And would you say that the things that you learned, some of the practices and these insights are what helped you to help others to do this work? Or like you seem like a natural leader to me, Jaren.
Yeah, I really I think that a big part of what this does, I mean, I had Milt McLaren. Milt McLaren was my mentor and my thesis supervisor. He passed away in February, and he was a beautiful person, and he gave so much to the program. He basically helped get the program off the ground and
Yep,
initiated it.
yep.
And but it's like, man, for me to have talk about community, like to be able to connect with people at that level. I mean, Hillary, like your land acknowledgement that you just gave, my
Mm,
gosh, like
mm.
I mean, what else do we even need to listen to after that land acknowledgement? Like, just sign up, man. Like, like no, seriously, like this is people do not talk like this in many spaces.
Mm.
And we have the privilege as a part of this program to surround ourselves and basically make friends and become companions with with these instructors and the students. And it just gives you a huge amount of confidence, So
Yeah, none of us could do it alone. Like
yeah,
that's
so you talk about leadership. I think
Mm.
leadership comes, yeah, it happens in groups, but it
Yes.
also gives you that, like what happened at Meek for me gave me a lot of confidence to start projects. I mean, I can't list the projects that I've been part of, but it gives me the like right now, I'm initiating a network of these outdoor learning focused schools in the province, I'm presenting at
Gorgeous.
IPSA. Like I'm not saying this to brag, but it's like a big part of it is like the background that I have, and I know that I can I have a firm footing about what I'm talking about
Yeah.
when I'm sharing that and moving projects forward.
Right, because you've studied it. You've been a close study of it, and this is not new to you. This is you've been living it. I mean, I'm so glad you mentioned Milt. I mean, our both our mentors, our beloved teacher, our dear friend. We recently you and I met at his celebration of life, which was such a joy. I think you're the tallest man in the room. I could spot you a mile away and out looking for trees that you knew as friends on the property. So, I mean, that also breaks my heart open and says, yes, this person will always be a meek person. But this is it. These are people who are, we're not just here borrowing time. We're here to really make change and to make a life-sustaining world possible. And I think it starts with some of these conversations and these groups together and finding our way together, this accompaniment. We couldn't any of us do it alone. I certainly wouldn't want to. Um, I just love listening to you. I'd like to listen to you all morning. No, you speak very well.
And I guess another thing I want to say is, and I'm sorry, I've actually forgotten the questions that you had kind of
Oh, I've forgotten them too.
but
So
that's good. But so I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but a lot of being in Meek actually binds you with every cohort. Like this is something that's important to recognize that you're not just you're not just connected to the community and the folks that like Rick Cool when he was our head, he did such a good job of maintaining that, but also keeping us connected between cohorts.
yeah,
And you basically end up with this really large community of people that you can draw. And I would love to see so many more teachers join this program.
me too.
I think
Yeah,
that there isn't enough that do.
I agree.
But when I look at change makers in education in BC, in environmental education specifically, which is the most important in that
Of
field.
course.
But when I look at them, there so many of them are from
Well,
Meek.
well,
You know,
exactly. I
when we look,
researched
yeah,
last year and it was IPSA and it's
yeah.
SEEPSA. Well, that was Chloe Fott's thesis was SEEPSA. It's Take Me Outside. It's Sea to Sea. It's, the Columbia Basin. Everybody is somewhere in there is a Meek
It
founder,
really, it's really true. Yeah.
president. It's incredible.
Yeah.
All the
I
network.
mean, yeah, like I just went to this leadership conference. It was intended for it was in Banff and it was for
Oh,
uh
right.
basically systems level change. So administrators and out connecting and outdoor learning basically.
Yeah.
But all the people at the table there, like all the big change makers, like it's just meek, 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 meek. And
And you would have met Glenn Thielman, who's one of our
yes,
associate
yeah,
faculty now. He's lovely. And Robin, one of our students, was there from first year. I mean, this, you're right. This is all the kind of
yeah,
meek verse, meek universe.
yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
We are the ones that are out there doing this work. Okay, I mean, I think we best push on to the next. And Jaren, I just want to thank you. I wonder, are you going to go to Take Me Outside? Are you going to Banff for that?
Well, I only have so many days that I can
Yeah,
take off of
right,
school, and I went to the
right,
leadership conference,
right. So you have to,
and that
yeah,
was really rich,
yeah.
and I feel like I won't be able to make it for both, but
I'm going to post that today because the registration just opened.
did
So
it
it's going
open?
to open
Or it
soon.
opens tomorrow, I
Oh,
think.
is it tomorrow? I'm going to
But
post it on our SES Cafe for other students to join. Yeah,
what I should say about that is that it sells out in hours.
I know it
So
does.
people
Yeah,
need to be on there right away
yeah.
to register.
I'll give them a good
Yeah.
warning shot across the
Okay.
bow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
thank you for everything so far. And if you want to hang out with us, it would be wonderful for a while. And I think I'm going to move over to Kira, if that's okay. We're going to kind of go in the order of where people are. And well, Kiara, I'm going to just say, today or tomorrow, you are handing in your final draft of your major research project. Yay! Well, I mean, first draft, but
First
final
draft.
draft because it's been a bit of time coming, but it's a beautiful, talk about dance. It's a beautiful thing, as I was talking about Alan Watts and dancing. So you came to the MEEC program in 2023, and you've had a 12-year career in public education. You're a dancer, an activist, an environmental educator, and you were exploring at the intersection of movement, emotion, ecology, activism, grief through your research with Five Rhythms Dancing and the work that reconnects. That is Joanna Macy's life's work, and another one of our beautiful mentor, teacher, elders who just made a grand transition in July. So I'm so thrilled that your work is this kind of embodiment of how these pathways to personal transformation are also ways we can start inviting the rest of the world to that dance, to ecological transformation, to a place where we can all meet and be together and dance this way forward. So, dear Kira, how are you today? And what is happening for you? What happened for you in Meek? What can you say about your experience for us so that we get a bit of a glimpse?
Hi.
Hi.
Um, so yeah, thank you, Hill, for the intro. I was pretty burnt out when I came to Meek. I had left teaching, was pretty disillusioned with, public ed, and I was quite disconnected at that point from creativity, certainly like I'm not fully from nature, but I wasn't, yeah, I felt pretty disconnected from nature and just like that sense that I'm part of something larger, this like grand scheme. So like when I think about the question, what happened, transformation comes to mind, which is like really a big theme in my research, but I certainly changed. But yeah, that's the truest answer. The program helped me remember like what it means to belong to this world and like be part of it. Like when so much of so many people in the world are numbing out and turning away because there's so much heartbreak that we see in the world. That's what drew me to Meek, because I was like, what the F do I do with all of this? Like, I don't know what to do. This is so scary. Like everything, it was just, I was overwhelmed and I felt like I needed not just more like cerebral knowledge, but like I needed some real significant shifts. So yeah, this program helped
Happily.
me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It
Yep.
just helped me do the opposite of that numbing out and turning away because it's just too overwhelming. Like it helped me find ways to kind of meet it meet these crises of our time and like realize that there's this like zooming out that has happened, that allowed me through like lots of conversation with, yourself, Hillary, and other staff and students, just help me kind of see a bit more of the big picture. Because we can't just like meet these crises with intellect alone, right? Like, we have so many issues, like not just the climate emergency, there's like social fractures and like alienation that so many people feel. Like they're like relational problems and emotional problems, not just like technical ones. And so they call for this like different kind of learning. And I think MAEEC really can meet that, like that call.
That's interesting because I mean, so you're a somatic, movement person. So, did you see, was some of the teaching for you resonant when when you found out that there was embodied practices, that there was experiential learning, that there was, deep reflective time, immersion in nature, like those kinds of things that actually can awaken the multiple intelligences, the ancestral, the spatial, the relational. I mean, a lot of people say this is grad school. Like, I never knew this could be grad school. And I say, well, perhaps this should be how we do grad school. But as you say, it's, it is also the people, but it's something about this kind of more whole experience for you. Because I think you were feeling a little bit, I remember seeing you in that room. Now, you didn't have all the colorful stickies, but we had a conversation before you came to the program. And I remember Zooming with you, and I remember you had like a glimmer, like you just had a glimmer because you were really feeling downhearted. And you thought, well, I'm just going to do this thing. And I'm sure glad you did, because in a kind of joking way, you found your footing. You're a dancer. So to actually be able to take that as your research and, dance it into some of these grief and despair rituals that will be like social acupuncture for others. Like, what did that teach you? What did that do for you? What did that do for you to help other people?
Um, I mean, just coming out at like I had spent a lot of years in academia, both before and right before MAEEC, and also, long before MAEEC. And it was nice to come to a program that, like you just said, like had this like holistic kind of approach. Um, I'm not, I don't consider myself all that like creative in the in the sense that many people look at it. I know that I am, but you call me a dancer, and when I hear the word dancer, I think of like a ballerina or something like it, or somebody who's like on stage. I consider myself like a mover, and so like doing the things that we did, especially in field school and on residency, like all of the invitations to use our other senses and like to connect in other ways other than, and then the readings were kind of at night, and that like all the like academic stuff was sort of on the side almost. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That was a good thing. And it was like all this experiential stuff was front loaded. And mind you, that was when we were together. Of course, we can do readings throughout the year when we're not together. But anyway, I digressed and I forget where I was at there. But
You're
yeah,
a mover. I
just
love that. You're a mover.
yeah,
That's
it
it.
just yeah, like knowledge isn't just up here, like it lives in the body, it lives in our movement and stories and in our motions, like through these courses and the readings and just the community. Like I think I came in with this like sense that I needed to learn how to talk about and teach about the environment to like help to like save the world, and I like shifted into this away from that, and now it's more just about like, well, what can I do for like my relationship the planet, and like
Oh,
how can I,
how can I belong? Yeah,
yeah,
can't save the
and-
world, but we can fully belong to it.
yeah,
But
and
here's the other thing, your embodied thing. Like, this isn't just a thought process. It's not just like, oh, I move or I dance. Even when you presented your bibliographic web map, it was a body.
Hmm.
Like, has your lens been strengthened? Like, have you felt more confident bringing that embodied, you know, way of you, uh, into the world a bit more? Has this helped? Has that helped in some way? I mean, even writing about it, you're finishing your project today or tomorrow,
yeah.
maybe today.
So I'm somebody who kind of I need to move in order to sort of stay grounded and stay out of my head, and like if I haven't, preferably outside, but like if I don't move around, I don't sleep well. Like, I just kind of need that. So like it was perfect to be working with something I knew so well for my research. I've been doing five rhythms for, I don't know, over a decade, and the work that reconnects was new to me through MAEEC. And I remember doing some of the work that reconnects work and thinking like, "Ah, I need to move, like I needed to like move this emotion through me and let it out. And so that's what I chose to do. I kind of merged the two, and
And you did a workshop
I did
with
a
other
workshop.
people and you observed
Yeah.
them, and you danced them and you worked with other psychotherapists and yeah, I know.
We honored emotion as intelligence, and like movement as this like form of ecological dialogue, like, and this like connection to the planet and to all living things. And it was really powerful for people. We're doing another one by popular demand in January.
Yay.
Yes, people are like, we need this, we need more of it. It was really, really powerful for people. I mean, a lot of the people that came were people who were movers as well, did five rhythms, but there were quite a few from the Work the Reconnects community, and then some who hadn't done either. But
How great to take something you already have and then absolutely integrate some of this learning that you've done and create something that's also unique to you and is your own. That's what I mean about true vocation, where your own deep gladness and passions meet what the world is hungry for, backed by popular demand.
yeah, yeah,
Thanks,
it's cool.
Kira. Yeah, that's amazing. I love hearing about that. I can hardly wait to read. I am your supervisor, so I can hardly wait to read your
A
your
little nervous because
research
it's
project. I
pretty
know.
long.
Well, it's okay. I'm recovering, so
You
that's
read fast.
so thanks so much. I know my questions were vague, but I also want to just leave room for you to, say whatever you need to say and find your way because it is true. Everyone has a unique perspective. So we're over to Bridget now. Dear Bridget Forsman, thanks, Kira. Bridget, yay! Bridget began MAEEC in 2024 and is currently working on her thesis. And your background includes program coordination and a passion for community engagement. I know this about you. She works right now in professional and continuing studies at Royal Roads, and she's worked with us in the environmental school. It was also ours for a while, but she is a boon to any setting. I can really say that about you, Bridget. You're just such an amazing energy, and you are someone who really can cut through things and see clear patterns and processes. And I can see that's part of your brilliance. You also have wholehearted participation and you're kind-hearted, and that's a big thing. And I noticed that this year in our cohort as well, because I've just had you. So you're sort of the freshest one for me. But you also have a beautiful way of gathering people in just by your natural way. So I really appreciate that. So will you tell us a little bit about, what happened for you in the program, but maybe a bit about your research that you're doing this deep canvassing that you're going to be doing, which might inspire more meaningful climate action and collective resilience. Deep
Yeah.
canvassing, it just has this amazing ring to it. But first of all, maybe what
The
happened
deep, you
for
know that you're going deep in it.
yeah, so what happened for you at MAEEC, and maybe you can just give us a little glimpse and then take us on a little journey with you if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, what happened in this program? I came in with some really specific ideas about what I was doing and timelines and what I was going to get out of it. You know, coming in with like, this is a stepping stone onto this vocation over here. And in so many ways, both through the program and life circumstance, it forced me to let go of that and let the emergent learning happen, which I'm so grateful for. Because you can triangulate where you think your life needs to go, and it's really hard to let yourself go to the process of life teaching you where you need to go. And I really feel like this program did that in so many ways. I started out initially in 2023 with Cura, and then life exploded for me and I had to stop, which was like a heartbreak in and of itself because I was like, I had a plan.
And I forgot about that. You
Yeah,
guys did start together and then you had to jump back in at another
yeah,
time. I forgot.
yeah.
2023, right.
And yeah, had to sort of pick back up. And that's one of the beautiful things about this community is like you pick back up and you find another group of people in a different cohort that are willing to welcome you in,
Mhm.
which has been the consistent thing, cohort to cohort, and everyone that I've met throughout this program, where it's just like very deeply welcoming people who see the world through similar eyes that you do. So you're able to really connect quite quickly. And like, how many times do you get that opportunity in life to just meet people and immediately be like, yep, we're looking at the world in the same way, maybe at different points on our path of how we look at the world, but we have similar eyes to look at this thing. So yeah, in that slowing and allowing emergent learning to happen, I've definitely ended up in a place in my research that I didn't anticipate because I learned things I didn't know.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah, what a thought,
That's what
right?
you're here to do. But I wonder about like I heard you, I know you're strong and you've got a fine mind. And when you came in, you did have kind of a laundry list. And I think something surprised you about the emotionality that's involved in this learning that also is important to do the research you're going to do. Like to be able to strengthen and build compassion for
Hmm.
especially people whose motivations might run counter to your own, like to be able to sit with that and not have to defend or be right, or those kinds of practices that we've been doing. And I think that surprised you. I think I heard you say that that it was the welcome surprise. You needed that to round out your research because you're going to be doing something with right face to face with people, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna be doing a deep canvassing practice. So traditional canvassing is a political tool. People go door to door. You've probably met a canvasser, maybe you volunteered to be a canvasser, and you come prepped with talking points of what you want to say to people. And it's kind of just like a fact off. Here is the fact that the canvasser comes with, and here's the fact that the person at the door is coming with, and no one really believes each other. It's not a very effective way of talking to people about how they see the world. And deep canvassing practices have been used. I found a bunch of different studies that have used it for um, how to talk to people about long-term sustained opinion change. So one of the ones that I found really interesting was this deep canvassing campaign that was done in Florida around trans visibility in a super conservative area. The rate of opinion change was massive, like much more effective than any other canvassing practice. And then because this was a large long-term study, it was also sustained over time. And I was like, wow, what an incredibly effective tool.
In Florida.
So
Mm.
like, and the point of it is that you're connecting with people on an emotional level. You're
Yeah.
going into the conversation not with a series of talking points, but you go into the conversation ready to have an open-ended conversation based on emotion, because that's how opinion shift actually happens. It
Mm.
doesn't happen about countering a fact with a fact.
Right, but most learning kind of skittishly shies from emotion or psychology or how we are, who we are, and our real truth and our authenticity. Not so at Railroads. We really welcome that because that's what it is. That's where the truth is. That's where we can finally meet each other on common ground. Like
Yeah.
that's where your common ground comes in because we all love our kids and we all love clean water. We all want to breathe fresh air and have, availability of food and shelter. So really there is common ground. Like where you chose to do this too, where you're going to choose to do it is some of your old stomping grounds, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For field school, which is the most amazing experience in your second year of MEEC, you go up to the north coast of Vancouver Island, and I lived up there on and off for years in Port McNeill and in Hyde Creek. So it was kind of this homecoming to get to go back. Um, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It was
Good.
so wonderful to go home and reconnect.
Mm.
And yeah, that's where I want to be having these conversations
Yeah.
for my study about how this community it wants to be heard on climate action. So not necessarily about an opinion shift, but more a practice of listening to the community of how do you want to be heard? Like rather than a top-down solutions around climate action, this small community that is on the ocean, that is already being affected by climate change, where people are deeply connected to the land, whether they're on the conservative end of the spectrum or the liberal end of the political spectrum, they are all inherently deeply connected to the place that they live. Um,
The
and
first step to change is listen.
yeah,
I mean, it's
how do
not
you listen
telling
to a
someone,
community?
it's not a brochure. The
Mhm.
first step is to hear, to see and hear people.
Yeah.
Bridget, I actually think that's my definition of love, is to actually see and hear people for who they are. I mean, maybe love doesn't belong in deep canvassing or it doesn't belong in the political arena. I think it does. I think the Beatles had it right. But I do think that there's something of this deep kind of fierce kind of love of humanity when we can see and hear each other and just lay aside our defenses and our ideas and our plans and say, what is it that's going on for you right now?
Yeah.
Like, and you're better equipped now for this. Like, I mean, after the ordeal of the summer, I mean, it's like coming through a fire to go through that second rest. I can see Kira sort of smiling, right? It's not burnt out, but you get a little bit crispy, maybe. Not to frighten people, but so
You really do have to open yourself up in a way that I've never had in an educational experience before, and I'm incredibly grateful for it.
thank you. I love how I think this is going to help you to help others by example too. Like I haven't seen a lot of these examples here for us. Like I hope that you'll be able to influence a sphere of researchers here doing this kind of deep canvassing on the ground, around kitchen tables, in meaningful ways to really listen to people. Because, and it's not like we're just sitting around chatting. When, like Meg Wheatley always said, simple conversations change the world. This is where the change happens. A seed is dropped and something happens when people are seen and heard and then they feel they can act, you know. Um, do you think that is true that that you now have this different kind of, maybe strength to go forward and do this and a little cleared space now maybe that you're not doing coursework and, jumping around?
Yeah, definitely. And I think also just I think when you come in with very specific ideas of what you want to do, you're not going to be a good listener. You kind of have to let go of your ego in order to hear people properly. And I
Mhm.
think that's been one of the big learnings in this program has been like how to sit back, not just listen to other people, but to listen to the world around you. Like that's a
And
practice over
yourself
again.
and your own good wisdom, Bridget, because you bring wisdom. Everyone brings wisdom and the world. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I realize that we're going to run out of time about talking about the program, but I'd rather talk to you guys all day anyways. But I just want to thank you, all of you guys, Jaren and Kira and Bridget, for your time and just your insights. And it's really helpful to hear. And I mean, you know what my feeling about this program, and coming from you guys, it means a lot because it's very unique to each of your journeys and where you're at right now. So I'm also on your committee, Bridget, so I'm rooting for you. I'm in there. So right now, I guess we better get back to our slides and finish what the program is about. So if you guys need to hive off, I'll say deep thanks for you all being here. And if you'd like to stick around, you can definitely do so, but please send your friends to Meek. So we'll do a program overview. So our program has a blended delivery model, which includes online and on-campus learning, which you've just heard about. Yeah. So, and in MEEC, it's kind of brilliantly devised. It starts with a graduate certificate. So the first 3 courses, the first residency, which are 2 courses, and the first online course comprise a graduate certificate in environmental education and communication. If you continue on and do all the coursework, which is 24 credits, you get the diploma in environmental education and communication. And if you decide to go all the way, you can get the MA, which is meaning you would do research, which could comprise of a thesis or a major research project and an elective. So that's kind of how we've carved it up. We've done this because sometimes people get started in life and on something, they want to do the full MA, but they only have the space and time for the certificate. So you can actually get that, go off and come back another time and finish the diploma or the MA. Sometimes someone gets stuck on a certain part. Maybe you've done all your coursework, but things have changed in your life and you can't complete the MA. You can celebrate what important learning has accrued with your diploma and come back and finish at another time. So there's lots of ways to work this degree in a flexible way that fits for your life. I think the next slide. Yeah. So again, a blend of distance and face-to-face. The first certificate is 3 months, 3 courses, 9 credits. The first year is the diploma, all of the coursework, and 2 years is the full MA. There's 1 residency for the certificate, and the second residency is included in the diploma and the MA. Yeah. And they're mandatory. They're part of the mix. As you heard Jaren saying, and Kiera and Bridget, the residencies are key to get to know each other in person, the forensics of skin and hair and breath and bone, and really sitting with people and immersing on these lands, and going to field school and really getting developing and cultivating a sense of belonging with the more than human world, with all these beautiful experiential practices, nestled in 600 acres on the Salish Sea, beautiful gardens. It's really an exceptional experience to come to the residencies. And it is part of the magic of this program. And then these are the courses, I think, right? So if we needed to see a list of courses, I just love this picture of the sea stars. So yeah, the first course, Deepening Ecological Awareness and Understanding, is at the first residency, shared with Learning Theory and Program Design. They're both on campus. Then the first online course, which is just finishing now for our first years, is Foundations for Environmental Communication. And then we go on to Systems Perspective, which is taught by one of our own alum, Dr. Jason Young, who's quite marvelous. Went and off and did his PhD in Kingston. He did the MEEC program. And then Approaches to Research in Environmental Ed and Communication with Virginia McKendry, a retired prof from the School of Communication and Culture, who is just brilliant at that research course, so hands-on. And Worldviews and Ethics with Dr. Bob Cull, who is just an amazing writer, thinker, just an all-round great guy, good storyteller, a real mensch. And then the second residency is field school, the Biosphere and Sustainability, Socio-Ecological Justice. And that's the field school that Bridget alluded to, which is in the northern part of the island, up in the Broughton, with Dr. Ashley Akins, who's a National Geographic explorer, has started her own field school in Peru about 20 15 years ago, I think. Also, she is accompanied by Jason Young. Dr. Jason Young comes, and he's part of that field school. It's an amazing time on the land. And then you come back to me for 2 weeks for ecopsychology at the intersection of theory and practice on campus. And then you turn around and it's time for you to go off and do your research, whether you choose a thesis or the major research project and an elective. They total 12 credits, and that gives you about a year and a bit to complete because the program ends that next December. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And this is probably Ariana's point here. Maybe you'd like to jump in, Ariana.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hillary, and thank you so much, everybody. That was so beautiful to just sit back and listen to that. So much appreciation to you all. So I'll go over a little bit of details on how to apply. Again, if you're thinking of joining at Royal Roads, we have two methods of admission. We have standard and flexible admission. So I'll just touch briefly on both. But again, please know the full details for all of this is all on our website. So royalroads.ca if you need to refer to anything. And we'll send a follow-up as well. So for standard admissions, if you have a 4-year or comparable undergrad degree with a GPA of a B and at least 2 years of relevant work or volunteer experience or a combination. I know relevant can look different for many, many different things.
Yeah.
And then if you meet the degree requirement, but not the GPA requirement, there's also a great course called academic writing and critical thinking that you may be required to take. So just knowing that as well. Hillary,
It's a
anything you want to
helpful
add?
course.
Yeah.
I mean, we created it in continuing studies when I was the director there, the founding director, and it was just a necessity because so many of us have been out of school for a while. And while we could be good writers, academic writing is a different animal. So it's just a wonderful way to, put a tool in your toolkit. So you're not wrestling with the writing, you're wrestling with your thinking and your ideas when you come in. And
Mhm.
yeah, you're right too, Ariana, about the relevant work and volunteer experience. Like, don't be shy. Put this on your CV or your resume. Think about the things that you've been engaged in, even if it wasn't paid work. We want to know because this is, we'll always be willing to have a conversation with you about this combination.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you so much, Hillary. Okay, and there's also flexible admissions, one of my favorite things to talk about really at Royal Roads. So if you don't meet the standard admissions requirements and you have, again, flexibly 6 years of relevant work experience, or again, that combination of education or experience or post-secondary and professional accredited qualifications as well. And again, that note about academic writing and critical thinking. So there's many paths that you could take that can lead you to this program. So again, like Hillary says, don't be shy if you think that you want to go down one of these paths, either the graduate certificate, diploma, or MA. Again, please let us know in your application. And thank you to
And
Alana.
all of those parts of this program, the GC, the diploma, everything has the same admissions requirements. So if
Mhm.
you're coming in and you think you need to bone up on your writing, make sure your application is in long enough ahead of time so you can take that writing course and you can remove the conditions so you can make it into the next cohort. So our
Mhm.
next cohort comes in July. So you'd want to get in, want to get your applications in the new year pretty early up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point, actually. Yeah, thanks for that, Hillary. It's good to know.
I think that's a 10-week course. So
Yes,
yeah, we
yeah,
want to make sure it's done. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and thank you so much, Alana, for putting those links in the chat as well. It's super helpful. I'll be sure to include those in my follow-up. 8 weeks, I believe. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Alana. Hey, yeah, I'm thinking of 4 credit courses. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, friend. Yeah. Okay, so again, how to apply. There is an online application fee, again, on our website that applies. And then we ask for some supporting documentation. So again, thinking about gathering things like official transcripts, if you have them, a detailed resume, again, going into detail about like your work experience, life experience, all the different things that you've done, again, accreditations, different things. A personal statement as well. I always describe this as like a cover letter if you're applying to a job. Maybe that's not the best way of describing it, but just really going into detail, like what do you want to get out of the program? What are you bringing to the program? Again, details about like your life experience, different things, just so we can get to know you and kind of get like the full picture of why you want to come into this program.
Yeah, it's kind of a why you and why now. if you
Yeah.
can just give us a glimpse, and it can be personal because it's a personal statement.
Mhm.
And, we need to know what it is that's, whispering in your ear that says, go now and do this now. And especially if things aren't sort of lining up in the exact order in your life that you think they should, let's have that conversation because, it's always, yeah, as Alana says, it's a great way to get clear on what it is you want and what it is you intend for yourself. And also, sometimes it lets us know what kind of a real gift you'll be to the whole cohort. You've heard about this idea of the cohort, and we can spot right away when there are folks that are just going to really help lead, some of the groups. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Lana, it's a great way to get clear on yourself,
Mhm.
on why you're wanting to do the program. That's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
And then
Um,
there's the 2 letters of reference too, and
mhm.
please, not from a friend, from an academic reference if you can, or from a boss, someone you've reported to, even someone you volunteered with would be fine, but let's not have our friends, send in their raving reviews. It's wonderful, and we really want someone who can speak to some of the attributes that you're putting forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's cracking me up. All right, so the next intakes, folks, if you are again thinking ahead, July 6th, 2026, the application deadline coming up in April. It's somehow like almost the winter. Every time I do one of these sessions, I'm like, oh, it's the fall and now it's going to be the winter. So again, if you are thinking of applying, there's no time like the present, and we do assess those applications kind of on a rolling basis. So there is no like definitive deadline where you have the
Yep.
traditional competition. If you're thinking about it, now is a great time to submit that. And 2027 is on there as well, which is fantastic. So if you're thinking a little bit farther into the future, you want to join that group, that's fantastic as well. So,
And if you miss the April 6th deadline, if you
mhm.
get your application in and you let admissions know that you want this summer, just let them know because it won't allow you to choose anything but 2027 once you've missed that
Mm,
deadline. So make sure you talk to someone in admissions if you're a wee bit late or you're kind of doing something last minute. We'll look at it. We'll definitely look at it. We're very keen to make sure the doors stay open as long as we can.
yeah.
Late applications, as Alana says, are certainly possible. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And then, yeah, we offer rolling admission. So the sooner you apply, the sooner you find out. I love that. Elena, you're giving me good stuff in the chat
I
today.
love this picture because this is Eliza Lee, who was one of our MEEC students, and this is her leading under one of the trees out by the castle. This was one of the last things she did in residency, and
Oh,
it's just wonderful to see alum in these pictures and just get a sense of how much we're outside. The whole of the campus is our classroom. Yeah,
yeah, it's beautiful,
beautiful.
beautiful photo. Okay, some services that are available as well. I'll just flip the slide here. So again, financial aid and award, if you are considering financial resources, so things like loans, there's bursaries, scholarships, all sorts of different things, emergency funding, student research scholarships, other funding. Again, on our website, there's a great page where you can kind of filter and sort through all of those opportunities. And again, our friends in enrollment services, my dear friend Alana, again, learn more at ruralroads.ca is the general email, and we'll also include a little link to book a one-on-one appointment as well. That's very helpful if you are considering the program. Or there's some phone numbers for either local or for toll-free from North America if you are considering that, giving them a call. And yeah, they can help you narrow down your program options. They help you to connect with students, program heads, alumni, all sorts of different things. They're super, super helpful. Okay, and then I think we have one more slide.
Well,
There is.
this is another one of our wonderful students whose work was to save some of these frogs, these amphibians. And, this is from a Mary Oliver poem from a poem called The Summer's Day. And, she speaks about how she had wandered out all day and she had, run into this beautiful grasshopper with complicated eyes eating sugar out of her hand. And she said, I don't know what prayer is, but I know how to be idle and be blessed. And what else should I have done today, than to be here in this world? And she asked this incredible question. She says, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Because she says, everything dies at last and too soon. Tell me, What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Ooh, well, we might be able to help with a little bit of that. You know, we're kind of in that, in the guiding, teaching business. So we'd love to see you. And I just really want to say, anyone, I'd love to have a conversation with you. You can email me too. You can find me through admissions, or you can find me on the website. And I just really want to thank our guests also for being with us today. Just champions. And it's been lovely to be with you all. Thanks, Ariana. Thanks, Alana.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jaren.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was really nice to hear from all of you, and yeah, I still feel connected, so that's great.
Okay. Thanks, Kira. Thanks, Bridget.
You.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, everyone. We hope we'll see you next time. See you in the
Yeah.
program.
Take care. Yeah. Bye-bye. Lovely.